What's good? It's your boy JayThat'sMe. Let's get into Final Resolution, TNA's final pay-per-view of the year from December the 13th, 2024. This was a mixed bag of a show. Not a good show, really. It was more so in the middle. Before we get into the review, I apologize for my voice sounding this way. I'm fighting a cold, so I'm fighting it with sleep, a bunch of fluids, and cough drops. So I do apologize. But Final Resolution was not a good show. It just wasn't that good. So we're going to go over the pre-show briefly, and then from there we'll get into the main card. So JDC defeated Leon Slater. Moving on. So apparently Hammerstone, he was injured and he's unable to compete. Jake Something says that he's here to talk about a replacement. Jake Something says, does he look like he needs help? He can do anything on his own. That's where he thrives. Here's an answer. It's a statement. What's my name? Okay, that's cool there, I guess. Moving on. Frankie Kazarian defeats Jonathan Gresham. Alright. On to the main card. I wanted to saw my laptop in half. Moose defeats Kushida to retain the X Division Championship. This thing was long. It didn't need to be that long. It should have been about no more than, at best, 10 minutes. But it is what it is. Kushida's been doing the same still act for years, and I don't know. And Moose just plain sucks. He's been a bore for about a good 5 years. He was good back in 2017, 2018, but now, no. He's a lost cause. Moving on. So, Gia Miller had a backstage interview with First Class. So, KC says that people don't believe in AJ Francis, but tonight everyone will. They're all about the money, but later on, they'll be all about the gold. AJ Francis says he worked his entire career for this moment, and he's going to become world champion tonight. And Slam Nick Nemeth through the TNA logo in the ring. He's the biggest, baddest man walking and talking. The world is his and everything in it. Oh my God, fuck this. Moving on. The Rascals, they defeated PCO, Sami Callihan, and Jake Something. So, I wonder who took out Hammerstone. I don't know. Jake Something deserves better. He needs to be in NXT. I don't want him to go to AEW. He would just be doing jobs to, like, Darby Allin and other people, more than likely. But it is what it is. But the Rascals winning makes sense, I guess. Does it matter? No, not really. Moving right along. Well, no, before we move on, we get another cryptic 23 tease. The lights flicker on and off, and the number 23 appears, and then that was it. I have no idea what this means. Moving on. So Eric Young, he's backstage talking to Steve Maclin, giving him a pep talk about the Fatal 4-Way. Eric Young sees him as world champion in the future, and he has his back. Maclin says he's got this. Okay, whatever. Moving on, Ace Austin defeats Trent Seven. Ace Austin is good. Trent Seven is not. I like what they're doing with Ace Austin. He deserves to be higher on the card, but it seems like it's not going to happen, though. Moving on. Frankie Kazarian, he's backstage cutting a promo. He reflects on his win earlier on in the night, and he says TNA has been training this year because of him. Frankie Kazarian will be keeping a close eye on the world title match later on. He wants things to end on a high note, atop of the throne of TNA as world champion. Fuck Frankie Kazarian. Moving on. Jordynne Grace versus Rosemary. It was a no contest because, Jordynne Grace won via DQ. But towards the middle of the match, a hooded figure showed up, beat the shit out of Jordynne Grace, ended up doing the hammerlock DDT, and it was revealed to be my girl, Tessa Blanchard. She's back. This is great. This is tremendous. I know people are going to be upset about this, but it is what it is. It had to be done. Jordynne Grace is on her way out. TNA really didn't have any other options right now. I'm shocked they haven't gotten Mandy Rose or Lacey Evans or anyone of that ilk to come in for them. So they have to go back to Tessa Blanchard. We know the drama that took place between her and La Rosa Negra years ago. But Tessa being back is fine. I'm pretty sure she'll probably defeat Masha Slamovich either at Rebellion or probably at Slammiversary. One of the two. But it's fine. I'm glad that she's back. She got a really good reaction. And I'm glad she's back in TNA. Makes sense. And she might not even stay long. She might stay just like a solid year and then move on to WWE or AEW. So we'll have to wait and see. Moving on. So Gia Miller, she tried to get a quick interview with Tessa Blanchard. Tessa said she had to remind people who built this company, and she's here to take back what's her. And then she shoves Gia. So that's cool. Really good shit there. Moving right along. Hendry wins the Fatal 4-Way involving Josh Alexander, Mike Santana, and Steve Macklin. Clearly, Hendry winning was the right decision. Josh Alexander, he's on his way out. His contract is up with TNA in February of next year. Steve Macklin wasn't going to win anyway. He's an also-ran. And Mike Santana, he doesn't seem like a main event guy to me. He seems like more of a upper mid-card guy. So Hendry was the right decision. He won via the standing ovation, which makes perfect sense. So good stuff there. Moving on. Nick Nemeth, he's backstage. He says that he's happy about final resolution is finally here. AJ Francis thinks it's particularly already his championship, and now Hendry is officially the new number one contender. People are already thinking it's going to be Francis versus Henry. Nick Nemeth says he's the man here, and he always will be. He proves how good he is every single night. It's going to stay that way. He's the best TNA World Heavyweight Champion, apparently. Okay, that's fine. Moving on. This leads us into Masha Slamovich versus Tasha Steelz. So, Santino Marella, he came out and he banned the system from ringside, and he also banned Alicia Edwards. And this made the match a Boss Cut Anywhere match where Masha Slamovich won via the Requiem, which is like a power driver on the ramp 1, 2, 3. So that's fine. Good stuff there. I love Masha Slamovich. Tasha Steelz is a serviceable, decent, low mid-card heel. So I do like that. Makes perfect sense. Moving on, the Hardys, they defeat the system. There was a point in the match where Eddie Edwards got into a fan altercation. So Eddie was taunting a fan. The fan smacked Eddie. Eddie smacked the fan back, and then security got involved. To me, that's not a good look. That never should have happened. TNA should have had enough security there throughout the building. I know it's a smaller venue, but come on, man. Like, this doesn't need to happen. Hopefully he's banned from going to any TNA events. It makes zero sense. People have to realize these guys are playing characters. Like, I don't understand how people can be so fucking stupid, but it is what it is. But not a good look. But I'm glad that Eddie Edwards put him in his place, the fan. And it was funny with the crowd chanting, "You fucked up," and he did. Like, that's stupid. Like, you wasted your hard-earned money to go to a show, and you ended up getting kicked out of it. How funny is that? So, really good stuff there. The Hardys got the win. Jeff Hardy created his Royal Rumble 2000 spot by jumping off the balcony and hitting the swanton on Eddie Edwards through the table. That was great. So really good stuff there. Main event of the evening, which should have been on television, but it wasn't. Nick Nemeth defeats AJ Francis. Enough said about that, the better. And then post-match, First Class beat down Nick Nemeth, and then Joe Hendry made the save, and Joe Hendry and Nick Nemeth, they both grabbed the title, and they stared each other down, and that was it. So all in all, the show was not really that good. The main event was laughable. Joe Hendry winning was the right decision. Hopefully they can rectify what they should have done at Bound for Glory, and that's having Joe Hendry go over Nick Nemeth. I like Nick Nemeth, I do. But I think it's time for him to kind of turn heel and for him to essentially lose to Joe Hendry, even if Joe Hendry's leaving later next year. You know, if TNA is going to try to rebuild themselves, which is what they're going through right now, they need Joe Hendry as the face of the company. He needs to be the champion. He needs to be the TNA World Champion. But we'll have to wait and see. So it does seem like TNA is going through a rebuilding stage. I forgot to mention Rhino. Thank the creator above. Rhino is no longer with TNA. So he's going to be doing his last match with TNA at the tapings. So that's good. So his last match is going to be against Ryan Nemeth, and then he's out the door. He'll probably end up going to WWE to be a producer. I doubt if he'll wrestle, so that's fine, I guess. But I'm glad that he's leaving. But that's a problem that I have with TNA. They still continue to rely on talent that aren't over, like Sami Callihan, PCO, Moose, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and so many others. It's just time for them to have a hard revamp and to rebuild the roster. I really think that they need like a hard reset. I know a lot of people are still mad that Scott D'Amore's gone, but it is what it is. I do think that TNA needs to bring in guys that they know they can get, like Matt Riddle, Baron Corbin, Indy Hartwell, trying to go after Elias, definitely trying to go after Velveteen Dream. Try to go after guys and girls did you know that you can get Mandy Rose, Lacey Evans, and bring in people from the indies. But they have to revamp and rebuild that roster. If they have big things planned for TNA if they have big things planned for TNA in 2025, then they need to go ahead and be serious about it and start making real serious decisions and bring in people that they know that they can get. They're still trying to sell out the UBS Arena in New York that holds, I think, 17,000 people. How are you going to do that? You can't do it with your current roster that you have now. It's impossible. But they have to figure out, the best they can. But all in all, this was not really a good show. Joe Hendry winning was the right decision. Tessa Blanchard showing up and coming back to TNA, that was great. Everything else on the show was really missable. This felt like a basic TNA Impact episode, if we're being honest. But what did you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.